So, hi, I'm Alex Kaiser, and for my serial killer cereal box, I got David Berkowitz, otherwise known as Son of Sam. And David operated in New York for around 6 years. No, not 6. So, David Berkowitz operated in New York for around 2 years, and he killed 6 people and injured 11 more. And for my cereal, I chose Raisin Bran. Now, Raisin Bran's boring. I mean, yeah, it's like good for you, but I upgraded it to something way more appealing, to Satan Sam. I mean, the title says it all. So, let's start off with the name here because it's nice, bold, and front and center. So, the Son of Sam was Son of Sam. David Berkowitz, he believed that his neighbors and his neighbors' dogs were possessed by demons, which was why he was killing all the people, because these demons were telling him to do so. And so one day, his neighbor had a black Labrador, and he shot this lab. He was so tired of it. He was like, I don't want to hear the stupid demons anymore. So he shot the little dog. Sad. And while the dog's name wasn't Sam, the dog's owner's name was Sam. And this is what he claims was his trigger to go out and kill all the people. And so that's where he coined his own name, Son of Sam. And of course I added Satan because Satan Sam sounds more like Raisin Bran than Demon Sam. So, Demon Satan, similar. Satan is like higher up, on that list, but, that's another discussion. So basically, Raisin Bran is heart healthy, but Satan Sam is demon, is death ready. While many factors may impact your death, meaning Son of Sam will greatly increase your chances of dying. And while meeting him will increase your chances of dying, he also had a very high survivor rate, high in survivors, because he was only managed to kill 6 people. And while this is still horrible, he let 11 people get wounded and not die. There is one paraplegic, so he did injure him very greatly, but the rest of the people are living fairly normal lives now. And so you really only had a 33% chance of dying if you saw him. But if he attacked you alone, you were 100% gonna die. Okay, moving on from that, it is also a great last meal for you and your loved one, because Satan, Son of Sam, attacked people in couples predominantly. He only had one attack where he didn't attack someone in a couple, and that person did die. But out of the 8 attacks, everyone was in a couple, and the majority of them were long-haired brunettes. And so a lot of people in New York started cutting their hair short and dyeing it blonde. And then he killed a blonde girl, and so you can imagine how that went over with everyone who just ruined and bleached their hair. Then of course, instead of raisins, we have little bullets, because he shot everyone with a .44 caliber bulldog gun. And well, I don't know if these are the exact bullets that he used. It was a, pretty good eat, pretty good munch. And then down here is the Son of Sam symbol. Now he made this because whenever he would write letters to the police and to his neighbors, like harassing them and being all crazy and being like, I'm killing. And so this was the symbol he would sign all of his letters, the Son of Sam letters, and this was his symbol. And so of course it's the logo to his cereal brand, because, he created such a media for himself. He gave himself his own name, he gave himself his own logo. I mean, David Berkowitz was really trying to sell himself to the people as a serial killer. So of course, the cereal box. Okay, to the back. Now, did you know? Probably not, because we lived in Texas and this is upstate New York. Okay, in New York City, so first we have this cute little map which depicts all the locations where all the attacks happened, and I did include the first attack, which was a stabbing on Christmas Eve in Co-op City, where one girl was wounded and one girl was never identified, but I did include her on this because she was still a part of the attack and she was still a part of his rampage, and so I marked her as survived because I'm guessing she survived if she was never identified or discovered. And So yeah, so you can see all the all the little locations, right? And it's a nice map, you know, you can see which highways it knows next to. And the majority of his killings happened while the people were sitting in cars, which is why I made it like a little road map, right? Because people would be sitting in their cars, mostly in like lovers' lanes, you know, late at night, and he would just walk up and shoot them. And of course, death ready, high in survival rate. It is also demon dog approved because of the demons who are possessing your dogs and telling you to kill people do not approve of your cereal. What are you doing with your life, right? And we also have a fun little crossword puzzle to which I included the key, right? Because most of the time you can't figure it out, and then you need to, like, you don't look at the key, but you read it because it's upside down, and you're like, oh, yeah, I definitely knew that. So of course we included that. And then next is the nutrition facts, which normally is a boring read. You know, they make you feel bad about yourself, like, oh, I'm eating so much sugar, oh, I'm eating so many calories. Not this time. This is a 5-star novel. This winning awards, right? So first we have the nutrition facts. It's about 1 death for every 2 servings, and 1 serving is about 4 victims approximately. You know, because nutrition facts, are they accurate? Pretty accurate here. And so of course we have all the attacks listed, and then we have all the locations that he killed in, the percentage of you getting killed in each location, all the people who got attacked, if they died, if they survived, what attack number were they, what victim order were they, if you got attacked while you were alone, how likely would it be that you died? If you got attacked in a couple, how likely would it be that you died? If you were brunette, how likely? Blonde, how likely, right? These are important facts that even though he's locked away, you know, these are important to know, because if you were attacked alone and you're a brunette, you were gonna die, hun. So, obviously nutrition facts, very important to read, you know, educate yourself about the cereal. And of course we have the brief summary, which I will now go over. So basically, David Berkowitz was born, and he was an adopted child, and then after he was adopted about 3 weeks old, and his mother had like 2 guys, and one of them she dated for a long time, and then she started dating, like, having sex with this other dude, and she got pregnant, and they were like, oh, so she gave the baby up. And so he was adopted by 2 very nice people. They weren't very wealthy, but they had nice blue-collar jobs. You know, he was living in a nice, like, suburban home, a very modest, normal kind of a life. But then at 14, his adoptive mom died of cancer, and he was like, dang, this sucks. I no longer have a real mom. I don't have an adoptive mom. So he was like, I'm going to become a loner. And this is when his crime started. Now, he doesn't actually have a criminal record, but he did start small fires and did have some petty thefts, but they never took legal action against him, so he doesn't have a criminal record, but his childhood was still a little shaky, and he did have emotional issues. And then right at the age of 18, when he graduated high school, he went off to the army and he fought in Korea. He was like, yes. And then he came back, and when he came back, he reconnected with his birth mom, which should have been exciting, but he learned the truth about his birth and his mom's relationships, and he was not happy. He was like, ugh. So then he left, and this is what most people think to be the actual trigger to all his killings, was the emotional stress of meeting his real mom and then being disappointed and let down by the reality of what happened. And so then he tries to stab these 2 girls on Christmas Eve, and he doesn't do a very good job. So he's like, you know, I should go back to what I'm good at, which is shooting, because while he was in the army, he became a very talented marksman, and he was actually really good at it. He was honorably discharged from the army. Until he came back, he was semi-decent dude. And so then he was like, let's use a gun instead. And so then the first actual shooting happened in July 1976, and from then he went on for about a year shooting people until one day on one of his final shootings, a woman saw him running away and get in the car and quickly drive away, and she was like, that's really suspicious, because it happened right after a shooting. And so then she went to the police and she was like, I saw this dude, and they had her do a sketch. They had a sketch artist come in and draw the guy that she saw. And so then they had a sketch of the suspect of Son of Sam, because previously they really didn't have much. They had the bullets that he had used, but they were merely able to connect all the crimes to each other and weren't really finding anything about the guy who was behind it. And at the same time that this sketch artist, David Berkowitz, had been getting investigated for harassment because he was writing all these letters to his neighbors, and because he thought they were demon possessed, and so his neighbors were kind of annoyed, and they were like, hey, so that he was getting investigated for harassment. And then the neighbors realized, they saw like the sketch, you know, and the letters, and they were like, this dude could be Son of Sam. And then they told the police, and the police looked at the two, and they were like, this dude could be Son of Sam. So then they arrested him, and David Berkowitz admitted to everything. He was like, I did it, y'all. And he went to trial, and he could have pled insane, but he pled guilty instead, which is exactly what an insane person would do. And then he got 25 life sentences in prison with no opportunity of parole. Now, there are a lot of people who think he was schizophrenic, and there is a lot of evidence to back it up that he was a schizophrenic, and this was just him having mental issues. But it was also rumored that he was in a cult, that he was like a demonic worshiper. So there was a lot of stuff going on with this dude. Okay? And then, of course, you know, we have our little citations, and then we have the label about who I am. And then the final thing we have is we have our little trinket, which, because he believed all the demon dogs told him to kill them, you know, and that was really, in his mind, what was the cause of this. That was how he basically associated all of his killings, was to this dog. And so I got a little doggy that goes inside the box, you know, nice little trinket for all the girls and boys who want to eat the Satan Sams. So, again, remember, death ready, bullets instead of raisins, y'all, high-end survivors, Satan Sam, a great and nutritious choice for your breakfast cereal. And while the cereal is great, David Berkowitz was not. Thank you.